I would like to call to order the meeting for the South Fulton Charter Commission, South Fulton, Georgia Charter Commission, November 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. Mr. Sir, who's my chaplain? Were you going to give us the invocation, please?
If you
appointed
let us pray. Dear gracious God, we thank you for this day, another day that we haven't seen. We thank you for being with us all day long. Lord, we pray for these families that's represented. We pray for nothing but good things to happen for these families who have sacrificed so much for so long for this great city. And we pray that when our work here is done, God, we want to hear you say, well done, my good and faithful servants. And we pray that the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts will be acceptable in your sight. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crane. Let us stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, could you give me a roll call, please?
It's the roll call for the November 1st Charter Commission meeting. William Bill Edwards, Chair.
Yes, here.
Judge Kenya Johnson, Vice Chair.
Present.
Benny Crane.
Present.
Dedrain D. Franklin indicated that she would not be present. Dory Henry, just making sure they didn't join. She is absent. John Herring.
Present.
Daphne Jordan.
Present.
Cecily Cole Martin.
Present.
Suzanne Alcoberry.
Present.
And Marshall J. Taggart is absent. Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum.
Okay, first let me thank everybody. You know, we've done an awesome job of reviewing this charter. It's my goal tonight, and I hope it's your goal, that we can tie this up tonight so that the staff can get it ready to present to the state. I do know, and at the last meeting, Susan and I talked to you about it, because certain circumstances where you couldn't make it, we want to entertain those things today also. But I really think if it's my wishes, I hope it's everybody's wish, that we can pull this together tonight and submit it to the state. Okay. So first, I want to ask. We had a public hearing. Is there anything that was said in the public hearing that we need to consider in our remarks to the state? Anybody have anything that was said at the public hearing?
Mr. Chair, with all due respect, you have minutes before you that requires action.
Gotcha. I just want to make a statement. All right. You didn't get one? Okay. That was just my statement, Mr. Clerk. I'm going to ask for the minutes, the approval of the minutes. We have a motion. There's a second for the approval of the 10/18/2022 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved to second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote by show of hands, please.
I record that as unanimous.
Okay. All right. Let's start with once again. Anybody hear anything at the public hearing that we think? Yes.
We need to approve the agenda.
You know, you didn't put that on here. You didn't put that on there.
Item 5.
Well, let's do that, Mr. Crane.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting agenda.
Second.
Put your mic on.
I'm sorry. There's a motion to approve the agenda. That's my motion.
Okay. There's a second?
Second.
Properly moved to second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote by raise of hand, please.
Record that as unanimous.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I guess I'm going to get to it now. The whole fact that, I'm going to say it again, anybody heard anything of relevance that we need to discuss to add to our agenda? Close sake, hearing none. What I'd like to do, Ms. Ackerberry, I know that you sent some things in.
I did.
Okay, let's start with that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, under section 2.11H, I make a motion to remove the term current legal residential address, and keep proof of residency add in the city of South Fulton to the city clerk.
Do you all have a copy of this? Do you have any issues with the legal? You have any issue with that? You don't? Okay, anyone? Now that pertains to the residency, right?
Correct. And my concern was is saying legal residential address, legal for what purpose? So if it just says proof of residency in the city of South Fulton, I think that suffices, so that there's no confusion. I did make a motion.
Okay, is it second?
Second.
Properly moved and second, any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Crane.
Was there confusion with other language?
I didn't hear your question.
I was just asking, we were talking about, the recommendation is to change the language so it won't be confusing. I'm trying to understand the confusion about the current language.
Well, the reason I said that is because what is a legal residential address? There's no clarification for that. So if all they're required to do is provide proof of residency in the city of South Fulton, I think it makes it very clear. Because it's legal for what purpose?
That's,
Okay.
you all right, Mr. Crane?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, Vice Chair.
I take issue with the removal of the word current because it does have value in the time that documents are presented or they are considered valid for purposes of proof of residency.
I'm not there yet.
Okay, I'm just talking about your motion.
Right, the first motion is to, it says it would be
You said that.
their current, and then it would be proof of residency.
Okay. Again, I restate that I have issue with the removal of the word current.
I'm not asking for it to be removed there.
It
That's what it
says,
says.
that was your motion.
It's, she has it on two.
We're still in discussion. Go ahead, Ms. Ackerberry.
So what I'm trying to do in this section is just clean it up a little bit. So instead of current, go down to number 2, that we look at language that says the document has to be issued within that current year. Because if they're providing residency every single year, we want to make sure that the document that they're presenting is not a duplicate of what they presented the prior year.
Okay.
So rather than saying current, because what does current mean? To say that the document must have been issued in that year.
Does that make sense to you? Man,
I understand, I hadn't read to 2. I was just on 1
You're
in the
okay
motion
now?
presented.
You okay? Anyone second the motion? Did I get a second? Go ahead, Ms.
Are we
Jordan.
still on 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I ask that the motion be particularly restated because I heard that the motion
Okay.
included removal of the word current.
Ms. Ackerberry, would you restate your motion?
So to amend section H to remove, I guess, it would be, okay. It would be to restate it to before June 30th, proof of residency in the city of South Fulton to the city clerk. That section would take out current legal residence, legal residential address. And then I think there has to be, and we can talk about that as we get to the second part, is what information they have to provide to show that they're residing in the city of South Fulton for that particular year. Because the concern is, what does current mean? Does it mean has to be within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? So my suggestion is to require that the document that be provided be for that year. And it's not being
Duplicated.
submitted from a previous year,
Can I just,
since they have to submit proof of residency once per year.
Okay, the chair acknowledges Ms. Jordan.
so there's an election this year. When will those elected officials have to show proof of residency after they've been elected?
So it would be before June 30th of the next year that they were elected.
Before
So if they got
June
elected in 2022, they'd have to show it before June of 2023, according to 211H.
So I think because there's already been challenges with some of the people who are currently running for office, if we don't specify current, they very well can provide any address at any given time. And so I think that's what has occurred here several times with the charter is if there's a loophole, then there's a way for people to find another way of, I don't know, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but I guess that's really what it has been. So to me, a current address is the address that I currently live at today. That's what current means to me. If you don't say current, then technically I can provide you with the address that I resided in at the time I was elected, which is in November.
Well, it says, and so that's why I said, well, I'd have to, I guess, work on the language that it would have to be a document that is for the year in which it has to be provided.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Crane, go ahead.
in the section we're talking about, 2.11H, it's talking about two different things here. It's saying you need to submit at least once a year, on or before. And the first part is, tell me what your current legal address is, okay? And current is not ambiguous, it's not confusing. Current means right now, today. Where do you live, sir? And then it goes on to say, now we need you to provide proof of that. Current is not a problem here in my view. I think current narrows down the time frame which we're discussing. Whether it's you're just being on the ballot or you are an incumbent and now we're in 2023. We need to know, you need to provide us your current address. That's the first thing. Tell me what it is. Okay, now that you've told me where it is, provide me the evidence. And that's what the second part, because it says, and. There are two things that we're asking somebody to do. Tell me where you currently reside. That is not confusing at all. I don't think that anybody can manipulate what current means. It means exactly what it says. It means right here, right now, in present tense, currently.
The only thing I was trying to do is to provide a little bit more specificity so that there would be no confusion. So it had to be within 60 days or 30 days, whatever the commission agrees upon, that the information was generated, so that you're not trying to provide information from a prior year and say that's current information. This is my current bank statement, but the bank statement could have been issued, you know, in the prior year. And the reason why I said take out legal residential address, because what does that mean?
I think that I have to agree with both of you. But the fix of this, Mr. Crane, if you have a substitute motion that straightens this out, you know, I would hear it.
I don't have a substitute motion. I just have a vote on the current motion.
Okay. Or
Well,
any-
the only thing I was trying to do is tighten the language such that there would be no misinterpretation or room for
Right.
someone to game this section, that's all.
Right. Well, let's vote on the motion that's on the floor. Who seconded it? I don't recall.
I don't have a second at this point.
You know? All right, give me one more change. Anybody want a second? All right, that's for lack of a second. Go ahead, Ms. Secretary.
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, I just wanted to let everyone that Ms. Dory Henry is present via Zoom, as well as Marshall Taggart is signing in as well.
Okay, good. Next item, next one of your items. Ms. Secretary.
The next one, there were some typos that weren't corrected, but I can skip over those.
Yes. But make sure the clerk gets them, though.
Yeah, if they're.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we hadn't scrubbed it for the typos. We're going to do that after all the changes are made. So I've noted those as indicated by Ms. Huckleberry.
And 3.251, it should be before the city manager can remove, we should also include the word suspend. And again, the word remove needed to be consistent, because I think in some places it was terminate.
Does that section already have that in there?
No, it says before the city manager can remove. It should be remove,
And or-
suspend, or remove, because that makes it consistent with what's in 4.10E
Yes.
of the charter.
I think you're right there.
Should I make a motion to include the word
Mr. Chair.
before the city
One
manager?
moment.
My,
One
my
moment.
apologies. Did we dispose of the previous motion?
I didn't get a second.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
no
second.
second, so it died.
You guys went into discussion, there was a second, and then there was discussion, so did we miss what the second?
Well, I asked who made the second.
So Ms.
She said
Jordan
she-
made the second, but I think she decided to rescind her second.
All right, okay. Keep it straight. Okay, what's your motion, Ms. Secretary?
To add the word before the city manager can, and insert the word suspend or, the two words, suspend or remove the police chief or fire chief. That's the second to
There's-
last sentence.
Is there a second on Ms. Secretary's motion?
So are we taking term, I'm sorry, I have a question.
Go ahead. Well, let me, is there a second? Okay, that fails for lack of a second.
I don't understand why we're not trying to be consistent with what's already in the charter.
Well, I wanted to get the motion on the floor first, and then I'll get into discussion.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Suzie, can you repeat your motion, please?
So the motion is to add the word suspend, the two words suspend or remove. I mean, before the word remove, in the second to last sentence in 3.25I. I'm sorry.
So that it is consistent with the,
With what is in the other section of the chart, if you go to 4.10E, it provides the city manager with that.
okay, second.
Thank you.
Clarification?
Yes. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, previously, let me turn this down.
Get the-
Previously on, looks like August 16th, the body voted to use the terms suspend or terminate instead of suspend or removal.
Okay, whichever term is consistent.
And I understand your motion is to ensure that throughout the document it uses suspend or terminate.
Just so that it's consistent.
So, parliamentarily, Mr. Clerk, we had a motion that didn't get a second, but they were about to discuss some things. Is the second motion that we just had in order?
Well, I think Mrs. Martin seconded the motion. With the clarification, the maker can withdraw their motion, and I think that would
I
be
think
the
you're
clean.
right, because there was didn't have a second, so it was gone. But I want to make clarity that the same motion came back, and it was approved, second by Ms. Martin, and we're good with that.
Right, so there's a proper motion, second on the floor, so you have to dispose of that motion, and you either have to carry the vote, or the maker of the motion can withdraw their motion altogether, and that removes it from the floor.
So my motion was just to add 2 words.
Yeah, we understand the motion. Mr. Madam Chairperson, would you want to go ahead?
Nothing further.
Okay, we're in discussion. Any discussion?
On that item.
Hearing none, let's vote by show of hands, please. Okay, next item.
Under 4.12, to add the same process for removal of the city manager as in section 3.23 for the city attorney.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved in second. We're in discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Mr.
I have
Crane.
a question.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Who said that? Mr. Taggart?
It's
Okay,
Mr. Taggart.
I'll get right with you, Mr. Taggart. Let me get Mr. Crane. Mr. Crane, go ahead.
No problem.
As it relates to this item, did we take, I'm so sorry. Did we take an action on this particular section previously, specifically?
Mr. Clerk, could you answer that?
You're referencing section 4.12?
Yes.
No, I do not show that any action was taken on this item. Did take action on section 4.13, but not 4.12.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote by show of hands, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold, let me hold that. Mr.
Chair.
Taggart was on. Mr. Taggart, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know I'm not there to nod you today.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. That was going to be my question. I mean, are some of these redundant in terms of our approach? Can we be sure, just as colleagues, to just present motions that have not been approved, as opposed to going back through each individual area, just as a FYI? Because I had the same question as Mr. Crane. I thought we had addressed that previously. But if we haven't, then that's fine. I'm ready to vote, Mr. Chair.
Okay, well, some of them, they're just small changes I think Ms. Ackerberry is bringing in. So that's where we are. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of these. All right?
So,
You got someone?
Ms. Henry has her hand raised as well.
Okay, Mr. Taggart, did you say all you had to say?
Yeah, it was a comment. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Taggart. Ms. Henry?
Ms. Henry, you have the floor. If you would unmute, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Modern technology, I swear it's operator error happening over here, you all. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that you got my vote for the last vote. And how do you hear me moving forward? Do I just raise my hand? Do I say aye?
Just say aye. Or we can raise your hand on the computer, I understand. But I'm not going to let you do that technology. Just say aye. I'm fine with that. Okay?
Okay.
And if you're in
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was going to say, Mr. Chairman, if she's in a bad location, she can put it in the chat as well, and I can get it that way.
Okay. Good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
to her
Mr. Crane.
central question, did her vote get registered on the last item?
It did not. I did not hear or have anything on here for that.
The last voted was what?
It was 7-6-0. I'm sorry, 7-0.
You can also, you can add me.
Hold up, Mr. Taggart, hold up.
The chat as well. I'm sorry.
Madam Attorney, you saying something? All right. She just want to have a name.
This was me, Mr.
She just want to have a name added as a yes vote. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's up to the body too.
Correct. That's exactly correct.
For the record, I don't see any problem with it. Anybody? Go ahead. That's fine. Mr. Gray?
No.
Yeah, we'll for the record show that was a yes vote for her on the last one.
Received.
So, Mr. Chair, back on the issue at hand,
Yes, sir.
can we, for my purpose, no
Yes, sir.
one else probably needs this, but I need some clarity. If we're changing the process to remove the city manager to be consistent with that of the city attorney, can we talk about that in a broader perspective? What it is exactly we're doing to be consistent?
Yes, sir. That's why we're here. We need to do
So
stuff
it's
like
the
that.
reverse. It's making the process to remove the city manager that's already in the charter, apply to the city attorney, which requires notice. If the city attorney requests a hearing, they would be entitled to a public hearing as to the reasons for removal. The reason why I'm making the motion to have that process applicable to the city attorney as well is city attorneys are probably as important as city managers in running the government. And to get a good city attorney, I think they also need to have assurance that there is some tenure to their position as the same as the city manager. So that's why I made the motion to have that same process applicable to the city attorney.
So in a nutshell, you're just making whatever we do with the manager, we do for the city attorney.
Right.
All right. Do I have a motion on that?
I did.
Okay. Was there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote by show of hands. Okay.
Put your hands up for yay again. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Ms. Henry is 5. Nays. I have 1, 2. Okay. Any abstentions? Abstention. Judge Johnson. Abstention. Actually, Mr. Taggart raised his hand. Are you voting or do you have a comment? Mr. Taggart.
No, you
We're
asked for an
voting. We're
extension,
voting now.
correct?
We're not in discussion.
All right, thank you. So Mr. Taggart voted in the affirmative. So I have 6 yays,
Thank you.
6 yays, 2 nays, and 1 abstention.
All right.
Mr. Clerk, if I can, I recognized and asked to be recognized for the last vote. If you could in turn include me in as affirmative for the last vote and to abstain from this particular motion as well. That's all I have.
So here's an abstention. It's not
So he's abstaining. So we have
but
2
he's voting
abstentions.
affirmative on the last vote we had before the previous vote, but he's abstaining on this.
Correct. So that vote is approved. 5 yays, 2 nays, 2 abstentions.
Okay.
Point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
In the most recent version of Robert's Rules, abstentions are no longer sanctioned because essentially it is a vote. And so yays and nays are the new order of the day without extensions, because again, an abstention is essentially a vote when it's designed not to be a vote. And by silence, that serves as the abstention. And that's
That's
in
right.
Robert's Rules
That's right.
12.
You're right.
Okay.
Okay. Next item.
I make a motion to amend 4.12C, that the city attorney's compensation should be confirmed by city council. That's just to make it the same as it's done for the city manager.
Doesn't it always do that? Don't we, Mr. Clerk, let me ask you that.
Yeah, I believe it is not stated in the charter as it is for the city manager. It just doesn't, the language is not.
So we just do it. No language to it. We just do it.
Right. I believe it's implied.
Well, in section 4.12C, right now, it says the mayor shall set the compensation of the city attorney. Last sentence.
I've never had that to happen. I've seen recommendations in terms of compensation, and that was voted on by the full council. Mr. Herring, you want to say something? I thought I saw your hand.
No, I'm just reviewing the language.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, to make it do what we're already doing, I think that's the issue here, and I think that the answer would be to have the board approve all compensation to the county city attorney.
You mean the council?
I mean the council. That's what I mean.
Okay.
So that was my motion.
Yeah.
to
They do
change
it
that
now.
section.
I mean, they're already doing it.
Second?
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Crane.
So the action that we're taking today we're talking about putting the compensation process in the charter, I guess, to ratify what they're already doing. Is that what we're doing here? Since they're already doing it as a matter of practice, we just want to put it in here, make the recommendation to put it in. Is that what we're doing? If I understand correctly,
I think
that's what they're doing already.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right, Mr. Crane.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the last item for you?
That, we didn't vote on that.
Yeah, got a
Oh,
carry
I'm
vote.
sorry.
Well, hey, Bill.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, please.
I have 7 yeas in the meeting room. Mr. Taggart, Ms. Henry, I have hands raised for both of them, so that is approved unanimously.
Okay.
And I have one last small editorial change to section 7.18. When we added the provision about no member of the city, of a board, commission, or whatever shall hold any elective office in the city, 7.18 specifically refers to the Charter Commission. So I want to amend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th line, the sentence that says no member of any board, commission, or authority shall hold any elected office, to just no member of any of the Charter Commission shall hold any elective office, since that is what that section refers to.
Yeah. That's your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion on that item? If not, let's vote by show of hands, please.
I show 7 hands raised in the affirmative. I show a hand for Ms. Henry. Mr. Taggart, did you wish to register a vote? Okay, I show that as unanimous. Thank you.
And I want to thank the commission for their indulgence in allowing me to put my final edits in. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for that. Floor is still open. Any other changes, edits? Of course, you've done a very good job, Ms. Aquabear.
Except for my one that, got a little confusing, but okay.
Oh,
Any further edits?
yes, I had one. I had a question.
You told me you did.
Well, I had to wait my turn. So I did just want to find out if we needed to look at this and see if you all were aware that there was a recent amendment to the Ethics Board ordinance. And that was passed in August of this year. And I think Corey, the clerk, has actually given us a copy of the ordinance. Essentially because we have not been able to submit any ethics complaints due to one area of, I think District 7 didn't have a elected official because he stepped down to run, so it was a vacant area. And then, not sure what happened with the other area outside of just not appointing someone. And so in that case, it just left really the city in limbo, where constituents have not been able to submit an ethics complaint. But with the new ordinance, it actually gives the city clerk, am I saying this right?
You're
The
saying
city
it right.
clerk, the ability to make an appointment confirmed by the chief judge, is that correct?
Yes, if I may clarify, the current amendment before you that was approved by the city council, actually, in the event that a council member is unable or if the position is vacant, it allows the chief judge of municipal court to make an additional appointment to fill that vacancy. In the case, if it was 2 council members that didn't appoint their person, it also gives the chief judge the ability to make as many appointments as necessary to populate that ethics panel to function at a minimum of 9 members,
So judge need to get the appointing.
which is the current situation we're in now.
Right.
Okay, well,
And so because that has not occurred, then I actually have a question for the commission is, one, do we want to add stronger language in the charter that a citizen can file the complaint with the chief judge and the chief judge can file the complaint with Superior Court if no one has been appointed to the ethics board by the chief judge?
well, why, Mr. Clerk, why would they file it to the chief judge? I mean, who would file, it comes to you, the complaint, doesn't it?
If it's an ethics complaint?
Right.
Yes.
Right, so why would we want to give it to the chief judge?
Who would then file it through, because we have he would file it through Superior Court? Okay. Well, then I'm just asking,
Yeah.
I guess, from a clarification standpoint, maybe, is that,
I think giving the judge the power to appoint someone where there's no one there is enough. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I believe we took this matter up in a previous meeting where we adjusted the number of
Yes.
appointments
Yes.
so that there wouldn't be a time where there's just left no minimum of 9 at any point. So I think it would cover your,
my question?
yeah.
Well, you got 2 things here. She's concerned about what it is today. We have the what we have done is a little bit different. And so to answer your question, Daphne, is that the judge needs to start appointing somebody.
So,
I think that you feel that we will cover that in what we have brought forth, right? In the charter.
The specific change about having the complaint be filed directly to the judge, I was stating that that change would not be needed because it's something that may or may not be approved by the Gold Dome. It can stay the same process where it gets filed with the clerk, because if that is approved, there will not be a point where there's no 9 members, because everyone gets 2 appointees, and it's always going to be 9. There's not going to be a point where we're in the same situation where we cannot file a complaint. That's what I was trying to say.
okay.
You like that, Mr.
And I'm okay, I like that.
You okay? All right.
Yes, I don't want to
Okay.
be where we are today.
Yeah. Anything else? Ms. Jordan?
No.
All right. Anyone else? So, Mr. Clerk, at this juncture, we'll have to leave it up to you to compile everything and get everything ready for the state. I would suggest that once you do that, that you send everybody else a draft copy. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Send everyone a draft copy of what we're sending so we can review it. All right.
I was just going to say for the record, that was our intent, is to incorporate all of the changes, do a complete scrub on some of the errors that are in there in terms of the grammatical or spelling errors, as well as package it with a cover and suggest a introductory letter from the commission to the delegation for this body, and then send that out to the commission for your review and approval prior to sending it.
Well, once we review and we say, okay, for transparency, we need to make sure that it's on our website so that the public can
Yes, sir.
see what it is. All right?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir,
you
Mr.
use
Crane.
the term draft. So the next document we see, will that be a draft or will that be the final iteration?
Draft.
That would be the final draft. And once all commission members,
Final and draft.
yeah, once the commission members,
Contradiction, of course.
once they
Alright.
send their approval,
Right.
that it meets your approval, and at that time, it would be the final
The final
copy.
iteration, okay.
Yes,
And that'll be transmitted then immediately to the delegation.
correct.
Okay.
Mr. Clerk, do we need, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, how do we submit that approval? Are we talking about a virtual or a electronic vote?
Yes, my intention was to, virtually, well, through email, send you something and receive something back from each of you acknowledging that you've reviewed it and your approval. What some other cities have done, and I'm open either way. Some cities have provided a signature page for each member
That would be
to
good.
provide their signature, and we're prepared to do that as well.
Now look, don't y'all be coming back and sending us a bunch of other stuff. We've been working on this thing a long time.
I can handle that electronically as well. So
Yeah.
If he's gonna do it electronically, we can just do electronic signature and that'll be it.
true, correct.
Okay, Madam
Just for
Vice Chair.
clarity, if there are any issues, how would that be addressed? Email.
My intention, if say Mr. Crane says I don't agree with this, I would bring that to the chair, and if it rises to that level, then at a minimum, a virtual special call meeting would have to happen.
Listen, we can do this thing over and over again, and we'll still find some stuff. And at some point in time, you say, "Oh, and that's enough." So, I hope you keep that in consideration as you look over the document, so we can move this forward. The members of the state delegation, or the South, was the Fulton County delegation, they want to have this thing as soon as possible.
Right.
So that they can, come the 1st of January, Mr. Crane, they can start working on things.
Right.
So I think
Not sooner.
we've completed it very timely. We just want to get it over to Mr. Bruce and the rest of them so they can take it from there.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Crane, go ahead.
this is to the clerk. The document that we have with the recommended changes, this document, that's fixed, correct? I mean, what you have provided for us in this document that you put before us today, we can expect that this exact language is going to be in this final draft.
Yes, that's my
That's the
understanding.
language you voted on.
So the only thing that's going to change would be those changes that took place tonight, thanks to Ms. Huckleberry.
That's right.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
All right.
So we have a good idea what this document is
Absolutely.
going to look like.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
You bake the pie, you know how it's gonna look. All right. Any further things on the table?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Before we adjourn, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair. This let me take an opportunity. You don't have a stack on, do you? If you don't,
What you
don't
gonna
worry
say?
about it. Don't worry about it. Since this is going to be our last meeting together, my intention was to have certificates of appreciation for each of you. Unfortunately, because of supply chain and Amazon, they only sent 2, so each of you will be getting this, but I wanted to publicly thank you for your service, and each of you will get a plaque that will read as follows: Certificate of Appreciation presented to your name, Charter Commission. Thank you for committing your valuable time, exhibiting first-class professionalism, dedication, intellect, and due diligence in the review and revision of the City of South Fulton City Charter. So on behalf of the Mayor, City Council, and our City Manager, I just want to personally say thank you. I've been very honored to work with this body, and You have put a tremendous amount of time and effort into this effort, and I just want to say thank you. And on behalf of the city, we want to thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
you know,
Mr. Adams.
yeah, I've worked on a lot of committees and boards and councils, whatever. This is by far the best experience that I've ever had. And I don't say it lightly because I've had some tough ones. But this has been the best experience I ever had in terms of chairing a group. And we got all kinds of people on this group. I mean, what a mixture of people from different walks of life. And whoever appointed y'all did a good job. So I just want to say thank you as chair. We did a yeoman's job in getting it done. And I think we did it orderly, decent. And so thank you all very much.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
point of personal
Mr.
privilege.
Grinch, go ahead.
Let me also take this opportunity to thank Representative Deborah Bazemore for selecting me to represent her and the citizens of the city of South Fulton. I have done so with a great deal of pride and honor. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure to work with this august body. Each of you, we have had a great deal of diversity of thought, and I think it will serve us well, it'll serve the delegation well, and I just hope that they'll find some value in the work that we've done, and perhaps during the next session, we'll get a chance to go down and lobby for some of the changes that they're going to make because of our recommendation. And to you, Mr. Chair, thank you for your great leadership during this time.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Thank you so much. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just want to concur with Mr. Crane, and thank you so much for your leadership, your professionalism, and your consensus building. We truly appreciate getting us to this point. Thank you.
Thank you for being vice chair. Hadn't missed a meeting, but I wouldn't worry if I did miss one. Okay? Is there a motion? Is there a motion on the floor?
I make a motion to adjourn.
You have
Second.
any? Who?
Oh,
Henry?
I rescind my motion.
Okay, Miss Henry, go right ahead.
You guys are gonna overlook me yet once again. Just an experience and an honor and a pleasure. I hope our paths will cross again soon sometime. You have my number if you need me. Call me. And thank you, Mr. Adams, for all your work.
Okay.
Hard.
Oh, she's still talking.
That's it.
All right, we heard it all. All right, any further comments? We got a second?
Second.
Second.
All right. Let's vote, please. Show of hands. Let's get out of here.
Sign it out.
This meeting is adjourned.
You're adjourned at 6:48 p.m. Thank you.
Great job.